Marcus Steele stood at attention in the chrome-plated briefing room, his decorated uniform feeling heavier than usual. The metals on his chest caught the cold light from the viewport, showing the barren surface of Kepler 442b, low 20 years of loyal service to the Terran Empire had brought him here, to this moment he wished he could undo. Captain Steele, Admiral Voss began, her voice cutting through the sterile air like a blade. Your exemplary service record and genetic profile make you the ideal candidate for Project Genesis. This is humanity's future we're talking about. Datapad in Marcus's hands displayed clinical details that made his stomach turn. Subject designation, K7739. Female of the Etheran species captured during the siege of their homeworld 3 months ago. The Empire called it genetic preservation. Marcus called it what it really was. With respect, Admiral, I'm a soldier, not a ... He struggled to find words that wouldn't end his career. This isn't what I signed up for. Admiral Voss's expression hardened. What you signed up for, Captain, was to serve the Empire's interests. This alien species possesses unique telepathic abilities and longevity genes that could benefit humanity for generations. Your duty is clear. Marcus felt the weight of 20 years of conditioning pressing down on him. He had been the Empire's perfect weapon, following orders without question, earning commendations for battles that now seemed meaningless. But this crossed a line he hadn't known existed until now. The escort to the breeding facility felt like a march to execution. Corridors were pristine white, smelling of disinfectant and despair. Other soldiers avoided eye contact, everyone knowing what happened in these halls but no one willing to speak of it. When the door to Containment Cell 7 slid open, Marcus's breath caught in his throat. She sat curled in the corner, her crystalline blue skin seeming to absorb the harsh fluorescent light. Her silver hair cascaded over her shoulders like liquid starlight, but her silver eyes held no light at all. They were empty, broken, resigned to whatever fresh horror awaited her. She wore the standard gray jumpsuit issued to all subjects, but even that couldn't diminish her otherworldly beauty. Marcus realized he was staring and forced himself to look away, ashamed of his own reaction. I am Zara of the Etheran Houses, she said in a monotone voice, clearly rehearsed. I am ready to fulfill the breeding protocol as commanded. The mechanical delivery of those words hit Marcus like a physical blow. This wasn't a person speaking. It was a broken shell, reciting programming. He took a step back, his hand instinctively moving to his sidearm, not to threaten, but seeking comfort from something familiar in this alien situation. My name is Marcus, he said quietly, unsure of protocol. Captain Marcus Steele.
Eyes.
Zara's eyes flickered toward him briefly before returning to the floor. No recognition, no hope, no fear. Just empty acceptance of whatever came next. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken horrors and the weight of imperial expectations. Marcus found himself unable to move forward with his orders. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong, that the woman before him deserved better than to be treated as breeding stock for the Empire's ambitions. But 20 years of military conditioning warred with his conscience, leaving him frozen in indecision. Breaking the silence, 3 days passed in a strange routine that defied every military protocol Marcus had ever learned. Instead of fulfilling his orders, he found himself simply sitting in Zara's cell, sharing the silence. The guards outside whispered among themselves, confused by his delay, but none dared question a decorated captain. On the 4th day, Marcus brought something different. With him, a small thermal container held real coffee, not the synthetic substitute served in military rations. The rich aroma filled the sterile cell like a promise of better times. This is from Earth, he said, setting the container within Zara's reach. From my grandmother's farm in the Colorado mountains. She grew the beans herself before the terraforming companies took over. Zara's nostrils flared slightly at the unfamiliar scent. For the first time, she lifted her head completely, silver eyes focusing on the steaming cup. Her hand moved tentatively, stopping just short of the container as if touching it might trigger some punishment. It's yours, Marcus said gently. No strings attached. The concept seemed foreign to her. In her world, nothing came without a price. without expectation of something in return. But slowly, carefully, she lifted the cup to her lips. The first sip brought a slight widening of her eyes, the first genuine expression Marcus had seen from her. "Warm," she whispered, the word carrying wonder as if she had forgotten such sensations existed. "Yeah," Marcus smiled. "My grandmother always said that warmth shared is warmth doubled." Over the following days, Marcus continued bringing small gifts. A blanket woven from actual earth wool, soft and blue like her skin. A small device that projected images of natural landscapes from various worlds. Each offering was met with increasing curiosity rather than suspicion. Zara began to speak more, though still guardedly. She told him fragments about Etheria, her homeworld of floating crystal cities and singing waterfalls. Her people had been telepathic, living in harmony with their planet's energy fields until the Empire's warships blotted out their twin suns. "They said we were dangerous," she said one evening, her voice gaining strength, "that our mental abilities made us a threat to human expansion. But we never fought back, even when they began the cleansing." Marcus felt sick. He had read the official reports of the Etherian campaign, sanitized documents that spoke of pacification and resource allocation. The reality was genocide, plain and simple. "I'm sorry," he said, meaning it with every fiber of his being. "What my people did to yours. ... There's no excuse for it." Zara looked at him with something approaching surprise. "You apologize for your entire species?" "I apologize for my part in it," Marcus replied. "For wearing this uniform, for following orders without question, for not seeing the truth sooner." That night, for the first time since her capture, Zara moved closer to where Marcus sat. Not touching, but near enough that he could feel the subtle energy that radiated from her skin. A barely perceptible warmth that spoke of the telepathic abilities her people once possessed. "Marcus," she said his name carefully, as if testing its weight. "Why do you show me kindness when your empire demands cruelty?" Marcus struggled to answer Zara's question for days. Why was he defying everything he had been trained to believe? The answer came to him slowly, like dawn breaking over a battlefield he no longer wanted to fight. "Because you remind me of what we used to be," he finally said. "Before the Empire, before the endless expansion, humans valued compassion. My grandmother told stories of a time when we helped instead of conquered." Zara had been sitting closer each day, drawn by something she couldn't name. Her telepathic abilities, suppressed by imperial conditioning, were slowly returning. She could sense fragments of Marcus's emotions, genuine feelings that contradicted everything she had been taught about human nature. "Touch my hand," she said. Suddenly, one evening, extending her blue-skinned fingers toward him, Marcus hesitated. Physical contact would be crossing another line, one that led toward intimacy and away from his military duties. But the hope in Zara's silver eyes made the decision for him. Their fingers touched, and immediately he felt a warm, tingling sensation, like electricity made of starlight. "I can feel your thoughts," Zara whispered in wonder. "Not words, but emotions. You truly care about my well-being." The telepathic connection revealed more than either had expected. Marcus felt echoes of Zara's memories, the beauty of her lost world and the trauma of watching her people die. Zara sensed Marcus's growing guilt over his military service and his deepening feelings for her. "This is forbidden," she said, but didn't pull her hand away. "Everything worthwhile is forbidden by the Empire," Marcus replied, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her palm. Their conversations grew more intimate as the days passed. Zara shared memories of Etherian bonding rituals, where couples would merge their consciousness temporarily to experience perfect understanding. Marcus told her about human concepts of love and partnership, how his grandparents had been devoted to each other for 60 years. The turning point came when Admiral Voss arrived for an unscheduled inspection. Marcus quickly positioned himself protectively between the Admiral and Zara, his hand instinctively moving to his weapon. "Captain Steele," Admiral Voss said coldly, "your delay in completing this mission is becoming problematic. Perhaps you need a reminder of what happens to soldiers who disobey orders." She activated a holographic display showing other breeding facilities throughout the Empire. Dozens of captured aliens, all broken and compliant, all serving the Empire's genetic ambitions. Marcus saw the future they planned for Zara, an endless cycle of forced reproduction until her body gave out. "You have 48 hours to complete your assignment," Admiral Voss continued, "or we'll find someone who will." After she left, Zara collapsed into Marcus's arms, the telepathic connection between them transmitting her terror and despair. He held her close, feeling her crystalline skin warm against his chest, her silver hair soft beneath his chin. "Let them," he whispered fiercely. "I promise you, Zara, I won't let them use you like that." Their first kiss happened naturally, born of desperate need for comfort and connection. Zara's lips tasted like starlight and hope, and Marcus felt her telepathic abilities wrap around his mind like a gentle embrace. Part 4. The escape plan with only 2 days remaining before Admiral Voss would replace him with a more compliant officer. Marcus knew they had to act quickly. That night, he activated an encrypted communication channel he had hoped never to use. Connecting with the Terran Liberation Front, a growing resistance movement within the Empire's own ranks. "Phoenix to base," he whispered into his concealed transmitter. "I need immediate extraction for 2. The response came 12 hours later, through hidden channels. Captain Alina Vasquez, an old friend from his academy days who had joined the resistance, would coordinate their escape during the facility's shift change in 36 hours. Marcus shared the plan with Zara through their growing telepathic bond. Her mental abilities had strengthened remarkably since their connection began, and she could now communicate complex ideas without speaking aloud. The Empire's conditioning was breaking down as her natural gifts reasserted themselves. "I can sense the guards' patrol patterns," she whispered, her consciousness brushing against his. "Their minds are disciplined, but predictable." They spent their remaining time together planning every detail of their escape, but also exploring the deepening connection between them. Zara taught Marcus how to open his mind to telepathic contact, sharing memories and emotions in ways that transcended physical intimacy. "Among my people, this bond is sacred," she explained, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light from the viewport. "When 2 souls connect like this, they become part of each other forever." Marcus understood the magnitude of what she was offering. Not just escape from the facility, but a joining that would link their consciousness for life. "I want that," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I want all of it with you." Their final night in the cell was spent in each other's arms, sharing memories and dreams through the telepathic link that had become as natural as breathing. Marcus experienced fragments of Aether's beauty through Zara's memories, while she saw Earth's mountains and oceans through his eyes. "If we don't make it," Marcus said as dawn approached on their escape day, "I want you to know that these weeks with you have been the most real thing in my life." Zara pressed her forehead against his, their minds merging completely for a brief, perfect moment. "We will make it," she replied with quiet certainty. "Our bond is stronger than their chains." The escape began exactly on schedule. Lena Vasquez's contacts had arranged for a power fluctuation during shift change, creating a brief window when the cell locks would reset. Marcus had stolen a maintenance uniform and falsified work orders that would get them to the docking bay. As alarms began blaring throughout the facility, Marcus and Zara ran hand in hand through the service corridors, her telepathic abilities guiding them away from search teams. She could sense the guards' thoughts, anticipating their movements, and finding paths through the facility that others couldn't imagine. There, Zara pointed toward a small transport ship. "That one isn't military. It has a civilian pilot who questions his orders." They reached the ship just as Imperial forces began sealing the facility. Alina Vasquez stood at the boarding ramp, her weapon drawn against pursuing guards. "Move," she shouted, as their stolen ship lifted off from the facility. Marcus and Zara watched the orbital station shrink below them. For the first time since her capture, Zara was free. And for the first time in his military career, Marcus had chosen love over duty. The stolen transport ship, Liberty's Dream, raced through hyperspace toward the Outer Rim territories where the Terran Liberation Front maintained hidden bases. Marcus sat in the co-pilot's seat while Zara used her telepathic abilities to mask their ship's signature from Imperial sensors, a technique she was rediscovering as her natural gifts fully returned. "I can feel them searching," she said, her consciousness extended across space like invisible radar. "But they expect us to run toward the frontier. We should go deeper into Imperial space, where they won't look." Lena Vescas, their pilot and Resistance contact, shook her head. "That's suicide. Every system in the core worlds is under martial law." "Trust her," Marcus said, squeezing Zara's hand. Through their bond, he could sense the certainty in her mind. Her people navigated by mental energy for thousands of years. She knows things we don't. Their gamble paid off. While Imperial forces scoured the frontier worlds, Liberty's dream slipped through the inner systems toward Kepler 186f, a world where resistance cells had been quietly organizing for years. The revelation waiting for them at the Rebel base changed everything. Commander Torres, leader of the Liberation Movement, revealed that Zara was not just any Etherean survivor. She was the daughter of their planetary council. Her telepathic abilities, far stronger than the Empire had realized, our people had. Technology that could have revolutionized peaceful space travel, Torres explained. The Empire destroyed Etheria because they couldn't control something so powerful. Zara's memories were returning in waves now that she was free from Imperial conditioning. She remembered not just her homeworld's beauty, but its secrets, ancient techniques for faster-than-light communication and navigation that didn't require the Empire's brutal resource extraction methods. "I can teach others," she told the assembled. "Rebels, not just humans, but survivors from all the worlds the Empire has conquered. We can build something better." Their love had become a symbol for the growing resistance movement. Word spread through underground networks about the human captain who chose compassion over orders, and the alien princess who forgave humanity enough to fight alongside them. Recruitment doubled in systems where their story was known. Marcus and Zara worked together to establish a new kind of military unit, one based on cooperation rather than domination. Zara's telepathic training helped human soldiers develop empathy and tactical awareness, while Marcus's strategic experience guided their campaigns against Imperial forces. Their first major victory came at the Battle of Proxima Station. Zara's ability to coordinate multiple ships telepathically allowed a small rebel fleet to defeat a much larger Imperial force. The Empire's rigid command structure couldn't adapt to the fluid, intuitive tactics that emerged from human-alien cooperation, but their greatest triumph was personal. In a ceremony that blended Etherean bonding rituals with human marriage traditions, Marcus and Zara pledged themselves to each other before representatives of dozens of species that had suffered under Imperial rule. Their union represented hope that former enemies could become family. "The Empire taught us that strength comes from conquest," Marcus said in his vows. "But you taught me that true strength comes from choosing love, even when it costs everything." Zara's response was felt by every telepathic being present, her emotions radiating outward like ripples on a pond. "In you, I found not just a mate, but proof that consciousness can evolve beyond the need for domination. Together, we will build a galaxy where all beings can thrive." Their children would grow up free, carrying both human determination and Etherean wisdom. Their love story would be told on 1,000 worlds, inspiring others to choose compassion over cruelty, cooperation over conquest. Years later, as they stood on the observation deck of New Harmony Station, watching ships from dozens of species dock in peaceful trade, Marcus and Zara reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Empire still existed, but its influence was waning as more systems chose the alternative their love had helped create. "Do you ever regret it?" Marcus asked, his arm around her waist. "Giving up your chance for revenge to build something new?" Zara smiled, her silver eyes reflecting starlight from the nebula outside. Through their telepathic bond, her answer resonated. "With absolute certainty, revenge would have made me like them. Love made us free." Her story continued, written in the stars and the hearts of all who believed that, even in the darkest times, connection could triumph over conquest, and love could indeed conquer empire.